our 1 o'clock show featuring the RGV Heat with Audrey, Escamilla, Kristee, Salas, Chelsea Salinas, and Kayla Rogers. How are we doing today, ladies?
Doing good. We're good.
Are we all tired? I know me and Rudy were. Fun story. Before we get into that question, our car broke down on the way to Dallas, so we had to get a rental car, and we ended up getting there around 9 o'clock and then wake up early in the morning. So it was a bunch of early mornings and a bunch of late evenings for all of us. But for you guys, I bet it was even worse for you guys because you guys had to play in the heat, so you guys sweated a lot more than we did. So how was you guys this weekend as far as waking up early? Did you guys catch up on sleep and everything?
Audrey and I knocked out. We actually were in the same hotel, so Audrey and I got a lot of rest. Fortunately, we were able to take off early, so we got there at a decent time, able, to settle in and kind of get a good dinner before the next day. So I don't know about
Sunday. We had to wake up earlier to be at the field like at 6:50.
Yeah, same thing for us. And we were there, I think we just got there shortly after you guys. You guys were in our spot, and we're like, oh, shoot, they beat us to there. We were hoping to get there before you guys, but you guys caught us off guard, and then we had to rush and get all set up. But yeah, you guys did an amazing job this weekend, despite it being y'all's first tournament together. I wanted to get to that first, so we'll start with Audrey. Audrey, talk about you guys. We guys saw you at practice, obviously. You guys had a lot of girls, and then you guys were missing some this weekend. Talk about what you think the outcome and how you thought it was this weekend with you guys' team performance.
I think it was a very successful weekend overall. Like you said, this was our first tournament back. A lot of us hadn't played at all this summer. I know, like me speaking from experience, like it was hard, like coming back and seeing like different speeds of pitching and then like the different levels of teams. Like we had some really good teams that we had to play against and then some that weren't like so well. So it was hard, like being able to adjust to those pitchers again. But I mean, it was hard on my body, especially like after the tournament, I was so sore. Like I could barely even move. Like me and Kristee were like barely even walking after. Like it was just really hard to come back after 4 months of not playing at all. But I think we played really well as a team, and I'm really hopeful for nationals.
Wait, what did you think about it, Kristee? You were behind the plate, obviously. You're doing a lot of crouching. I wouldn't be able to do a lot of crouching because my knees are bad. But how did you think the weekend went for you?
I think we did really good. Our team it's a different look from last year. Last year we had a lot of experienced girls. This year we have a lot of young girls. We have an incoming sophomore. They're mainly sophomores and juniors. So we were both kind of nervous about how we're going to perform, but I think overall we did really well. The good thing about our team is like we don't really have egos, so we're so excited whenever someone gets a hit. Obviously when Vic had a home run, we were all jumping up and down. It was so good to be back, and we felt like we really appreciated it more than we typically do.
Yeah, that young sophomore, I think it was Katia Reyes, right? She's one of the younger players on the team, right?
Yes.
Speaking of pitchers, we'll go to Chelsea on this. Chelsea, you had a chance to be in the circle in one of the games. Talk about how you thought you played, and again, add on to what you think how you guys did this weekend.
I think for our first tournament this summer, we did good, but I think we'll do better in Plano. It was our first tournament, and we're just barely getting back together. We've been practicing, and then now we don't have a field because everything's getting worse down here. But I think everything is going to get back to normal, hopefully, and we're going to go to Plano and do better. And I think I could have done a little bit better, but that's okay because we learn, and then I will keep growing and hopefully do better next weekend also.
And I think we all learned a little something this weekend, just getting back into the shape of things. Kayla, you were in the outfield, and I don't know a lot about outfielding, but I think it gets a little, I don't want to say boring, but it's outfield and you don't have anything to do. But how did you think it went back there, being in the outfield and just being back on the field?
It was good. I mean, standing out there, it's really hot. Yeah, sometimes it does get a little boring. You don't really get the action that you want. But when the action comes, man, there's adrenaline, and it's so much fun to be out there. And I think we did so good overall. I know being our first tournament, we had a little ups and downs, a little rough patches in some areas, but all we can do is grow from that. And I think we'll do really good in Plano.
You actually had a really good play out in the outfield. It was a foul, and then you made I think it was a diving play. And
yes.
So you did a really great job out there fielding that catch. We're moving on. We're in the topic of Corona, so we're going to talk about that right now just to get out of the way. Obviously, things are getting a little bit worse. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but Hidalgo and Cameron County actually delayed the start of at least public and private school in the Valley. Do you guys think that'll have an effect on you guys at the college level? I know Audrey and Kristee, you guys are in the middle of transferring to different schools right now. Priscilla and Kayla, you guys are barely going to be going to college. Audrey and Kristee, starting with you guys, what have you guys learned from your schools right now as far as getting back on campus and getting back in the flow of things?
So my school, we're planning on going back like at the regular time. They're just accommodating like moving in and stuff. They don't want everybody moving into the apartments at once, understandably. So those are the only accommodations we have as far as like start date. But I know we're going to end like on Thanksgiving break. We're not going to go back to school for the semester because they don't want people like to be there during flu season and stuff. But everything's supposed to go like as planned.
And for us, it was kind of the opposite. We were supposed to start the 24th, but because it's getting worse, we're starting school August 17th, and we're ending. Finals week is Thanksgiving break. So we'll be out sooner, and we have like guidelines that we have to follow. So obviously masks in class, things like that. During practices, coaches established that we're splitting our team. So that way, if by any chance one female gets a corona, only half the team has to quarantine.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And I go to tech too, and they're trying to extend the moving in process for dorms and I think apartments as well. So for Chelsea and Kayla, you guys are going to be heading off to college this year. And you guys spent your last year in high school, and obviously you don't have as much work as you do, but you have to all the college applications and scholarships to do. For you, Chelsea and Kayla, how was your adjustment going from in class to online?
Well, I didn't have many classes because I was already almost done, but it was still like kind of a challenge because like some teachers would put work only sometimes, and then they would give you like 5 days to do it and you wouldn't know when it was up. So you had to like constantly be checking Google Classroom or whatever they were putting it, if it was Blackboard for college professors. But it was different from like you had to teach yourself if you didn't know the work because they weren't there to teach you. So it was like a bigger adjustment to learn how to do that.
And for you, Kayla?
It was a little hard at first, just because I was taking one college class already, and with that, it was a biology class, so we had to do labs and stuff. And doing the labs, it was tough because I mean you don't have partners and everything you have is a home, so you have to figure out like how to even research the stuff. Especially not having your professor there. He just basically gave us, okay, here's a lab and do it. And it's like, oh, okay. So I know that was a big adjustment, but getting my classes like online, I mean, that's how we're going to start. That's how I'm going to start in the fall. So I should be good. I mean, it took a while to get adjusted, but as far as like having everything online, I think we'll be okay.
And did you guys have graduation at all? I don't think Harlingen did, but what about for Chelsea? How did y'all's graduations go?
Yes, we did have our graduation. It was at the PSJ Stadium, but it was supposed to be at the arena, the Brogdon, I believe. And it was very hot. But other than that, it was pretty quick. Like they just had the valedictorian speak and the principals, and then they had everybody just walk, get their diploma, and then as soon as you get it, you could leave. You weren't able to stay to watch everybody else.
Wow. And then Kayla, how was yours go?
Well, we didn't really have a graduation. We had the online virtual where you just watch your name. But for us, we were supposed to have one in July, but they ended up canceling that to have like a little like walk. So you come in like at a certain time, and then I guess you just go up and they say your name and you just take the picture. So, I mean, if you already had it, you had your diploma if you went to go get it. If not, they gave it to you there, but it was kind of just like a walk, take a picture, and then you just leave. Like Chelsea said, you just leave and you don't get to see anyone else.
Yeah, it's just all been weird. Like we broadcasted a couple of graduations, and they had all the social distancing going on, kids wearing masks. And I was doing the photography, so like I was taking a picture and they just look at you like that. And it was like, okay, are you smiling or are you giving me a death threat? So it's just it's all weird, but at least at Harlingen South you'll have something memorable, and then Chelsea, of course, you ended up walking the stage. So it all, in an essence, we all sort of got like an original feel of this whole thing. Moving on just a little bit, if you're just tuning in, folks, we got the 4 players for RGV Heat. They'll be aging out actually following this year, and Audrey and Kristee are currently in college right now, and they'll be transferring to a couple different schools. Chelsea and Kayla are all, both upcoming freshmen, so we thank you for tuning in on our Monday slate. They just got back from Dallas this past weekend, competing at the American Freedom Showcase that we broadcast, and all that you can check it out on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and for the highlights and games and whatnot. Did you guys like that? I noticed as soon as you guys finished up the games, you just retweeted and liked the heck out of it. How cool? How happy were your parents that they were able to see you guys? It's not a normal thing because obviously everyone's scared. You guys had players missing, so how cool was it just to see you guys have some coverage up there?
It was really cool, not just for our parents though. Like, we had a lot of our college coaches who weren't able to be there, like tuning in and being able to watch the games. I know my coaches at Tyler were watching, so he was like texting me, super appreciative of it. And my parents weren't able to go to this tournament, so I had like my whole family watching it at home also, and they were all texting me throughout the game, like if I could see it. But they were really excited to be able to watch.
I know a lot of my like friends and family were watching, and my coach from Howard wasn't able to travel. She was out of state. So she watched all the games, and she was excited and really appreciated that even though she couldn't be there, she still saw me perform some type of way.
I know it was like a good experience because the Valley doesn't get like many exposure. It doesn't get a lot of exposure down there or like over here. So it was nice for that. And then also, well, my college coach was there watching. But also we get to look back at the games and like see our errors and learn from it. And we can always go back and review the game.
Yeah.
And for you, Kayla? Yeah.
I know it was kind of tough because my coach couldn't be there. I think she was having a tournament of her own, but it was really cool because she got to call and see how I did and see the bats that I had, and that was kind of cool. I know my mom also watched. She was there too, but she stayed in the hotel for the early games, and she was just like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go on," and she watched at the hotel. So that was kind of cool having my family watch too.
Yeah, so we definitely appreciate you guys for shouting us out and doing all that stuff. So it's really cool just to come up and, especially during these times, do what we can, be safe and everything. Sticking on the topic of softball, let's throw it back just a little bit to the high school days, so we can get back to Kristee and Audrey in high school. Audrey, you went to Weslaco High, and Kristee, you went to, help me out here, Edinburgh. Yes, I was gonna say Edinburgh.
Edinburgh High, not North High.
That confused them. Talk about your days, guys. I know Audrey, you guys made it to state them one year. You guys had some pretty good days back when you were in high school.
Yep, those were really fun. Honestly, I look back on it and wish I could go back sometimes. Especially the first 2 years. My freshman year, we went to state, and then my sophomore year, we made it to the Sweet 16. So we always said like the playoff runs were the most fun times. And I mean, it's sad that not everybody gets to experience it. Like, I wish everyone could see like how fun playoffs really is, especially going as far as we did. But high school definitely taught me a lot about being a teammate, not necessarily like on the field, but off the field as well. You know, especially like junior, senior year, you're supposed to be one of the leaders of the team. So I got to experience, that part of the game, like being able to play with people younger than me, because I've always played with older people and like been the youngest on the team. So having to like help people out who are younger than me, it was a new experience. I feel like it's definitely going to pay off, especially once I get to like my senior year of college and stuff. I'm already going to have that experience from high school, but I know I had like 4 great seasons and wish I could go back sometimes, but.
High school was so fun for Edinburgh High. I think every year we had a really good district every year, and obviously every 2 years our district changes, but we always met Weslaco in playoffs if they weren't in our district. So it was fun. It's nice to see your teammates and play against them. Obviously, you want to win, but you also want to see them succeed. But high school was so fun. I think my freshman year we had Coach Banda, and then we had to transition to Atsiba. But I don't think it was that big of a difference, to be honest. Like, they were both coaches that kind of had the same coaching style, and we're both very family oriented. So as a team, we felt like it wasn't really a big change. To this day, I still talk to both coaches, even the JV coaches. You know, they keep up with us. They follow us on Twitter and things like that, and they follow our schools. We send our schedules so they could see us. But for sure, high school was definitely a highlight. And like Audrey said, the playoff runs were so fun, especially when you had to play against your teammates because, you know, you have Audrey up to bat and I'm calling pitches. And it's like, okay, I hit a home run with this pitch. But it's so fun. And Coach Kevin definitely would try to like make ways and try to go and see all of us play. He would go and see, like, if me and Audrey were to play, there was a lot of girls on both the Westaco and Edinburgh High team. So he would try to go see like 7 or 8 girls at once. But definitely high school was a really big highlight of my softball career.
Now, Priscilla and Kayla, you guys just wrapped up your softball careers. It's a little bit more unique for you guys because it got shortened up. So talk about that. And I know it's a little heartbreaking for you guys.
Well, it really was sad to end my senior year like that. I didn't think it was going to be over at first. And then when they finally like officially announced that it was going to be over, it took a while before it hit me, but it was a very sad ending for us. I really thought that we would get another district champ title at PSG Memorial because last year was our first one ever at PSG Memorial, and I was hoping to grab another title before I left and went to a new journey to college. But it was very sad, and a lot of the girls, I still haven't seen them since school ended. I haven't been able to go back. But it was sad, and we were hoping to go again to playoffs and go big like we did last year.
And for you, Kayla, kind of similar story. And then you guys actually made a Sweet 16 a couple times, right? Is that correct?
Yes, we made it my freshman year and then my junior year. I know it was kind of hard. Kind of leaving it behind the way that we did was it was heartbreaking. It took me a while. They had like where we would decorate the doors and stuff, and it took me a while to do that because I was so heartbroken. I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to go back to it, but it was fun. High school was so much fun playing like like Audrey and Kristee said, playing in the playoffs. It was so much fun. You got to see a different level of energy that you had in your team. A different level of like just of excitement because you're in the playoffs. And I think that's what was the highlight of my high school, was being able to be in that level of energy and excitement and just charisma that you're in the playoffs and you made it that far. And it is sad that we had to end it the way we did, but I have no regrets. I'm very proud of my high school career.
And that's the most important thing, is that you have no regrets and you leave with a bang. So that's really good for all you guys. Sticking on that topic, one of the few many things you guys have in common is y'all got recruited to go play college. So starting with Kayla this time, we'll go from the ground up. Kayla, talk about your recruiting process and how that kind of factored into you playing at Laredo.
Well, we had I actually wasn't looking just yet to go play. I still had a few years under my belt, but once the time did come, I don't know. It was weird because we were playing in St. Mary's. We were playing at the field in St. Mary's, and I was actually trying to get recruited into St. Mary's, and then the Laredo coach came up to me and she's like, I like you. I love the way you play. I love your attitude. And we talked from there, and everything just went uphill from there. We almost called every day to see how we were doing, to see which tournaments I had. She got to see me a few times after that, and it went from there up. And I'm glad to say that I got recruited at Laredo because they're such a wonderful school. They're so nice. They were so welcoming when they first recruited. I know I got to go meet some of the girls, some of the sophomores that they had, and they were just so welcoming, so nice, so excited to have us freshmen on the team already. And I just felt so heartwarming that I already had a home there.
How was it for you, Chelsea?
I know before I was recruited, it was very intense going to a bunch of camps, a bunch of tournaments, emailing a bunch of coaches, and you just see like a different level of play from all these different girls. And you're like, wow, okay, I really need to step up my game. And so like eventually you start getting to that level where you're competing with the top people. And then I found Laredo I was emailing them as well, and they had been watching me for a while, and I went on an unofficial visit, and I just fell in love with the campus. I fell in love with the coaches. I love how they are. And then they have a benefit for my degree plan, which I want to go into physical therapy. And so it was just like a win-win for me. And I just love the campus. I love the school. I love everything about it. And it was a great opportunity for me.
And then for Kristee and Audrey, you guys are both already. You guys already had a season in college. Talk about you guys, first of all, from high school to college, and then after your first year into where you are now as far as playing softball.
Well, I don't think the transition was too hard. I feel like a lot of us can hack it because we do take like AP classes, or I don't know. I think Audrey went into her first year with a few hours from college. It was fun. I think I went to Kingsville, so it was only an hour and a half for home. It was super home-like, you know. I was able to come home on the weekends I have two younger sisters, so I was able to come and visit my sisters and be here for the holidays. But I don't think the transition was hard. It felt right. It felt at home. Obviously, the program at Kingsville was winning, and last year they had a really good program. So going in, I knew it was going to be hard to start, but it was going to be worth it. And obviously, the coaches are very knowledgeable. I loved my experience. My freshman year was fun. Taught me how to be independent, and it was kind of hard to be away from your parents, but living on my own was fun. And I don't regret any of it. I think if I could go back and do it again, I would just appreciate it more.
What about for you, Audrey?
For me, the school part wasn't really hard to transition to, just because, like Kristee said, I did have a good amount of hours coming out of high school. But I feel like the hardest part for me was like being able to live on my own. And I mean, like my sister was there at Temple with me. I was able to room with her and stuff. So she kind of like showed me the way for a lot of it. So that was really helpful. But we were 6 hours away from my parents. So it was hard not being able to see them like as much as I normally would. I would call them all the time. And like, normally whenever like anything goes wrong, I'm just able to like go to my mom's room and talk to her. But it was hard, like just having to see her through the phone and stuff. I only got to see them like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then like one weekend when they were able to come up. So I think that was the hardest part, transitioning. But as far as like getting to the point where I am now, I am transferring out of Temple and going into UT Tyler. And I feel like that transition was really hard just because when I was getting recruited by Tyler, it was when all the Corona stuff barely started. So they were actually going to go see my game the day that the season got canceled. Because the day that they canceled it, we had a game scheduled. So my recruitment process was all online, basically, and through the phone. So I never got to meet them until after I signed and after I committed to the college and stuff. And I didn't even get to go on my visit until the like middle of June, beginning of June, which was like after I had already signed my letter of intent. So I feel like a lot of that was just like backwards, but you know, it was accommodations I had to make because of Corona. So I think I'll be happy there though.
Was that something similar to you as well, Kristee? Did you have the whole virtual experience that the only way seeing your school you're going to go to now?
Yes, I'm going to be attending Howard College this fall. When I was getting recruited, actually at Kingsville, we had our like meetings, our end of the year meetings, and I had talked to Craig, and we came to the agreement that I was going to leave. And so I started reaching out to different coaches. They put me in the transfer portal. And Coach Rains from Howard reached out to me, and she was like, I'm looking for a player like you, someone that plays everything, utility. So we started talking, and my campus visit was actually a virtual. So the assistant coach, Coach AC, got on a little, like, I don't know how to say, like a gator, I guess. And she went around campus and was showing me every single building. She showed me the field. I was able to talk to some people that were working there, including my academic advisor. So yeah, most of it was virtually, and they checked up on me every day. And I feel really comfortable there because it's more than just Kristee or like Audrey, the softball player. You know, they want to get to know you, the type of character that you bring to the team, you know, who they're gonna actually like turn and rely on, you know. So a lot of it is virtual, but I can agree with Audrey, and both of us can say that we already on a group chat, you know, we already know our team. We're kind of in Chelsea and Kayla's shoes because we are transferring, so it's going to be a new look for us, you know. We're all in the same like we're all doing the same thing, and we're all excited. And I tell the girls, you know, just enjoy your freshman year, because technically we have 4 years of eligibility, both Audrey and I. So we're just like Chelsea and Kayla. And I think they refer to me as a freshman too. So it's going to be fun. But yeah, the whole virtual thing, I mean, you can't really do much about it. I was just grateful that Coach Raines gave me another opportunity to play.
Exactly. Sticking on the same subject, now we're switching a little bit to travel ball. You guys played for RGV Heat, and this was your first tournament. But have you guys all been on Heat for a while now, or how has that been?
Kristee and I have been there the longest out of all of us. I started playing there when I was an 8th grader, and I think Kristee was around the same time, 8th grader freshman.
8th grade, yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
We were part of like the earlier parts. Like before, he wouldn't really recruit people until freshman year and up. But our class was kind of the first year that he started going a little bit younger and started making a younger team. So we've been with him for a very long time, got to learn a lot from him, got to get really close to him. So that's been a real advantage for us.
And what about for you, Priscilla and Kayla? You guys are technically a year younger than Kristee and Audrey, but when did you guys first start playing with the Heat?
This was actually my first official tournament with them because I used to play with Fully Loaded. And last summer, the team had broke up because a lot of them graduated, so I had moved on to Heat. And so I've been practicing with them since last summer, but it's been an experience. Coach Kevin is different, and I like the opportunity he gives everybody. He's fair with everybody. And practices are a different level. We practice for 4 or 5 hours, and we get like 2 water breaks. So it's different, but I like it because he's training us to be ready for the college level.
And you, Kayla?
I have actually been on since I was a freshman. I think the year after Kristee went on, I think that's when I went on because her dad was actually telling my dad to get us over to Heat. And they were the ones that kind of convinced us to move. Because before I was with Thunder, and my dad was coaching the team, but we wanted a better program, so we moved to Heat. And I can honestly say that I fell in love with Heat and the coaching and everyone there. They're so welcoming, and the girls I played. I think I got the chance to play with the older girls. Some of the I don't know if Audrey played with Maria and Chelsea and them. And it was so much fun being a freshman in high school, being able to play with girls that are already in college. It was such an experience. It was so much fun. This one tournament we went up to, and we actually got a ring for that, and that was my first ring ever, and I was a freshman in high school, and that was such an experience for me. And Coach Kevin he opened my eyes in so many levels in playing with this team, and it's honestly has been amazing.
And that's one thing I noticed too. You guys all seem to have like a really good relationship with Coach Kevin tonight, man. Talk about that relationship. He seems to be like a real how can I describe it? He seems like a real, like he's so serious about everything, but once you guys get off on that side, he seems like the real nicest guy in the world.
He's a jokester, let me tell you.
Yes, he's honestly not as serious as you might think. He's one of those coaches that's like, he knows when and where to joke around. So, I mean, obviously if we're messing up, he's not gonna be joking around, but if we're doing good and we're having a good game, he'll be like making jokes and laughing with us the whole time. And he's honestly like, I always call him like my like summer father, because I'm with him all the time, like because my parents aren't able to go to all the tournaments, so he'll take me to some, and I have a really close relationship with him. He's like I said, like another dad to me, and it's just really good like having him by my side all the time, because even when we are in college, he still goes to our college games, and like he went up to Galveston to see me play with Temple and stuff. So like it doesn't stop once we leave his team. Like he's always contacting us, always like keeping up with how we're doing, and like even those girls like my sister who aren't eligible to play in the summer, he still like lets us go and hit with him in the cages, and he'll still like help us with anything we need. We're still allowed to go to heat practice all the time whenever we want to go. So it doesn't just stop like once we leave his team. It's a forever thing with him.
Yeah, we have the opportunity to play and practice with girls like Gabby Fonseca. You know, she goes to Prairie View. She was a part of the Heat organization for a very long time. And just to be able to have like a senior's perspective, you know what I mean? She comes back from Prairie View and she gives us help. I mean, both Audrey and I, she'll find a way to correct us, you know, and that's something that we don't take like really personal. We take it like, okay, like she knows what she's talking about. And that's the same way Coach Kevin is. Like who he invites back is everybody. And he knows that if they're going to correct you, it's, you know, it's correct and it's the way it is. But definitely I would agree with Audrey. He is like our father figure. He knows when to joke around. He knows, you know, whenever you're down, say you go 0 for 4, like he's going to give you advice and he's going to tell you like, it's going to suck, but you have to find a way, you know, and he makes us competitive and he makes us feel confident in the box and just he makes me want to go and get in the box and just compete, you know, and he makes us believe in ourselves more than ever. I think he'll tell you, honestly, if you ask him, he'll be like, when Kristee came, she didn't have the best bat. I don't know what, but like he will encourage you and he'll tell you like, if you put in the work, it's going to pay off. And I can absolutely say that it did. But he was the reason why a lot of the girls love to come back. I know Chelsea, when she was at Fully Loaded and she was looking into, you know, coming to Heat, he was like, you have a lot of talent, you know, you'd be a good asset to the team. And she was just so excited to be a part of it. And we welcomed her with open arms. At least I thought we did. But we were so excited to have her. And that's something that he really emphasizes, is making it feel like home. Like we are family. We tell each other, like, I love you, I'll be careful. You know, it's more than just you're my teammate. You know, like we're forever going to have this in common.
What about for you, Kayla, and for Chelsea? Go ahead.
Well, when I first came, I thought he was really serious. I had never met him, never talked to him before. And my first few practices were different. It was tough. I had never like had that type of practice before. And I never had seen him like really smile or joke around. So I was like, oh, he's serious. And then I've gotten to know him and he's different. He cares about you more as a person and not just as an athlete. And it's like it's a family thing, and his best interest is in all of his athletes. So appreciate him a lot.
The same thing with me. When I first came on, we had almost a 5-hour practice, and we're like, oh my goodness. And I was freaking out because I was like, I'm a freshman. I'm like, this guy's crazy. He's out of his mind. Like, who does this? But then getting to know him, whenever we would do like our infield drills, with Coach Kevin, I'm always in the outfield. So whenever we were in the infield, he'd always, come on, outfielder, let's go, get it together. And it's like, okay, Coach Kevin, I'm trying. Like, I'm sorry I missed the ball. And he would always joke around, but he would always know how to push me better, to be like, to know where my limits are. And he would always push me to be way better than I was. And if I ever did make a mistake, he would tell me, hey, let's go. Like, you're better than this. And I think that's one thing that I love with Coach Kevin is he's not afraid to yell at me, but when he does, it's for a reason and it's for a good reason. So I know that he's just keeping everybody like Chelsea said, in everyone's best interest. And it really has become a family with him. And he is like a father to us all.
Yeah, but I totally agree with you. When I first met him, he was kind of serious, and then he's like, "Oh, nice hat." And it was like a Texas Tech hat, so that's pretty cool that you recognize it. I was like, okay, this guy's pretty cool. And then when I first walked in you guys' dugout over the weekend, he was all serious and everything. He's like, "Oh, what's going on?" Okay, we're cool now. So he was really cool over the weekend, and I really appreciated him doing that. just a couple more things before we wrap up. We're going to try to do this. It's the first time we tried doing this. I think we did this like very early on. We're going to try doing a little film breakdown. So let's go here. We're going to go to the Texas Fusion game. This is a game where you guys, I think you guys won that first game. I believe it was 10-0 the first time, and you guys had a little bit of a struggle this time. But let's see how it'll work. Can y'all see this fine?
Yes.
Okay, so let's try going here. I think this was 1 on after a leadoff single, and then Escamilla comes up. Escamilla, Audrey, yeah, okay, you got the out there, but what does coach tell y'all to do when you have the 1 on, or what's the typical game plan when you guys get in this position?
He'll always tell us to hit behind the runner. So our main focus at this point in the game is to just get the runner to second base, just so we can get a run on the board. I'm just trying to hit opposite field right now, but told me to bunt and it didn't work. So I tried to bunt again, but didn't get it down. So obviously, just like the main goal is to get her to second base, which I was able to do, fortunately.
And that's exactly what happened. And then that's when you guys had Victoria come up, and I think this was the 3-run shot.
Run. Yes.
There it was. Let's go ahead and watch that. This is pretty cool too, because this was her second one of the weekend as well. And
off the same team.
On the same team, exactly. And was the first one a 2-run? The first one was a 2-runner, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is really cool that then she got the 3-run shot here. Go ahead and watch it right now. "30 seconds is pretty long."
And we're in the dugout yelling, "Get on top of the ball," because those pitches, and she hits nukes.
Boom.
Over her head.
That ball was just gone. There was no way it was staying in. And you'll see Coach Kevin kind of like laugh at her like,
yeah, this was weird. He did like a weird handshake. Or
yeah,
no, he was telling her that the pitch was over her head.
Oh, too high. Weird handshake. My goodness. Let's see if they'll do it again.
But that hit was so important because that was the only runs we scored in the game.
Exactly. Yeah, and it was really early on too. So, what was going through your guys' mind when you guys were in the bottom of the second too? You guys couldn't get anything on. What was going through your minds, because those were, yeah, like you said, those were the only runs that you guys got on during that game.
I think like in that situation, the bottom of the second and stuff, we were just saying like, oh, it's early in the game. We still have time to score. And then once it got towards like the last few innings, we were like, okay, like for reals, we need to score now. But
yeah, I think we ended up winning 5-3, no?
Yeah, it was 5. You're right.
That was the first game. This one was 3-1.
I get confused too.
I
think this was 3-1 because it was a major difference in the second one. And then you guys fell to one team in the next one, 3-1 as well. So I think that's how I remember. Let's switch over that one team game, because that was a really tough game. What did you think of Staten? She was the one in the circle. What did you think of her pitching?
Honestly, she wasn't bad. She was a good pitcher, but I feel like she wasn't what we made her seem to be. I feel like our bats just weren't there, but it wasn't just because of her pitching. It was because of us and our approach and stuff. Because we had bases loaded twice. Like we were getting on base easily. It was just like our timely hittings and being able to score with 2 outs, or being able to like bring the runners in while they were in scoring position, which we had trouble doing that game.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with Audrey. I think the biggest difference in that game was that we left 7 runners in scoring position. And that's something with 2 outs, we have to get up there and find a way to, pull through. And I think Coach Kevin had said that we had a total of 10 left on, but 7 in scoring position. And in the other games, we had those 2 out timely hits. So they had their little bloopers, their little moments, and it's like there's nothing you can really do about that. But I think we should have buckled down and, found a way to make some runs go through, especially if they're on third base, like right side scores. So we have to figure that out.
But for that game, I just honestly want to give a lot of credit to Chelsea because she started off like struggling a little bit in the beginning, like getting used to it, but she really did a good job for us that game. She was really able to like settle down and get like really good innings in at the end. It sucks that we weren't able to help her out hitting wise, but she did a really good job.
And she did. She did. Go ahead.
It was like hard in the beginning because I was struggling and I knew I wasn't producing for my team how I should have. And then also in my batting, I had chances to bring in runners, and it's frustrating as a batter when all you need to do is like get a little hit or execute to bring in a runner, and like I couldn't do that when I needed to. So also like part of it was my fault, but a lot of us we had like a few little hits we could have scored, and it was just like a team thing. I think we could have beat that team and we should have won.
But honestly, like I wouldn't put it on you that way, like especially the batting wise, because we were all in those situations. Like even at the end, I went up with 2 outs, runners at second and third, and I walked, but I could have gone a hit there, and then Kristee came up after me. Like we all had those situations that could have happened. So I just think that was everyone hitting wise.
Yeah, I know that was one of the things that was tough with me was I was bunting the entire tournament and I was doing good bunting, but when I needed to bunt, I couldn't bunt. So it's like, it was one of those stressful times for me because it's like that's my job as a slapper, as a lefty, is put the ball down to move our runners. And when the time came that I needed to put it down, I didn't put it down. So I know that was really stressful for me too.
If I could say anything about Chelsea was that, yes, she did struggle, but as the game got on, she buckled down and she got stronger. And typically, with some pitchers, they start strong and they kind of die out, and that's when you have to bring in your relief. And Chelsea, she was frustrated. I talked to her. We talk a lot as a pitcher and a catcher. We talk about what's working, what's not. And I could definitely say that Chelsea got better as the game got on, and she really just shut him out towards the end. But yeah, she did really well, and Coach Kevin told her, like, I'm going to leave you in there and you're going to have to figure it out. He told her, like, you're going to have to buckle down and, fight for yourself. And she did. And that's something that we all told her, like, look, you do your job and we're going to try our best to score. So we definitely all take fault in that game because we all could have performed better in like some way.
And then and just like right now, it just happened. Chelsea had a strike, and then you backed her up and you tagged the runner out at second. So just like you said, you backed her up, and then Chelsea, you did pitch a pretty darn good game because one team was a tough team. But overall, to end this, what did you think? It's a kind of repetitive question, but not bad for your first tournament, was it?
No, I think we did really good together for being our first time playing together because last year, like our team changes every summer. So this was the first time this team got to play together, like these group of girls. Like we all practiced together, but it's not the same. So I think our chemistry was one thing that was really well this weekend.
Yeah, I think we were all kind of nervous to see how we were going to perform, but I think the fact that, the whole 4 months without doing anything made us so excited to be there. And the first thing Coach Kevin said was, obviously we want to win, but he was like, go out there and have fun, appreciate it, because we don't know if Plano's going to happen. This might be the last time you guys play together, so just have fun. And I think that's something that is so important as a player. If you don't have fun and you don't love what you're doing, then there's really no point. But overall, I think we did really good as a team. Like I said before, we have young players, some that aren't as experienced as us four, but they get to learn from that, and they're eager to learn, and they ask questions, and we feed off each other's energy. So I was really excited how we performed, and I know in Plano we're going to put up a good fight, and we're going to, give a run for our money.
And that was the next thing I was gonna relate to was the fact that this may have been your last tournament. We don't know it because we don't know if the state's going to shut down or not. Chelsea and Kayla, your thoughts on that? It might be your last tournament, it might not, but what do you think of that?
I think it would be sad because I had to go through that in high school, and then now I have to go through it again in summer ball. And then so it would just be heartbreaking because it was my first tournament with Heat, and I love playing with them. It's just a different environment. They always have my back. If I'm not doing good in whatever batting or pitching, they're always there to pick me up, and I love playing with them, practicing with them, with Coach Kevin also. They're just really great, and I'm going to be really sad if that was my last tournament with them.
Yeah. same thing with me. It would be heartbreaking to end it the way school ended, and I'm praying that everything goes good where we do have this tournament. But yeah, we did really good, and that's one thing that I'm really happy to say is the way, at least for me, in my perspective, is I'm really happy the way I played this tournament. If it was my last tournament, I went out there, I gave it everything I had. And if it does end, then I'm glad that I could say that I did have like a good tournament. But if it doesn't, hopefully we do better in Plano and we progress better in Plano.
Exactly. We all hope that we all end up going to Plano, because that's the big stage right there. So hopefully everything goes well with that. And it's a good note to end on. And we'll end on a couple of good notes here. I wanted to ask, since you guys don't get the chance to have them in while you're traveling, what are you guys' walk-up songs? Do you guys have any, or what are y'all's choices?
Mine in college was California Love by Tupac, because I don't know, that song just hypes me up.
Rudy was over here shaking his head because he agrees with that one. What about you, Kristee?
I think mine was by the Yin Yang Twins. I forgot what it's called. I don't know. I personally like to have like a hype song. I'm not one to have like a country song or anything. I just have to be really calm in the box. But I do know, like, my senior year at EHS, I had the intro to Candy Shop, because it was really like mellow kind of, and then the beat just drops and you're like, okay, you know, that's my
awesome.
cup of tea.
Awesome. What about you, Chelsea?
For this past year, I believe I had Que Calor, because it's like kind of out there, kind of. I'm kind of like a jokester with my high school team, so it was kind of, I liked it because it was like loud and then dancing. So I'm going up to the box like already like in a good mood. I don't want to go up there like thinking too much, like, oh, I don't want to strike out, I don't want to hit a bomb. Like, no, I'm just going in there, just doing me.
Good choice. And then Kayla?
Actually, it's kind of ironic because on my team, I'm one of the whitest girls there, and I have a Shakira song. So it was kind of like what, this girl, like really this girl like Kayla Rogers, like Rogers, and she has a Shakira song. But that was one thing that like I loved to do was with my high school team is I was always the one that had the Mexican song, and every time it would come on, I would get my whole team dancing. And it was like, that was something that I really liked because it didn't calm me down, but it also gave like my team a chance to just let go and be free and dance the way they want to dance in the dugout and cheering me on in the batter's box. So that was really cool.
Hey, I don't mind Shakira either. We're playing that on the way up there. Finally, guys, any shout outs you want to give? I'm sure a lot of people are watching. So anybody want to shout out before we wrap up?
Shout out to Coach Kevin.
Coach Kevin.
Yeah, Coach Kevin.
My batting coach, Eric Gonzalez. And Coach Kevin.
Coach Joe.
Coach Joe.
Coach Joe.
Coach Joe's watching.
Gabby Fonseca. Love her. Thank you for teaching everything. Natalie Rodriguez, she texts me right now.
Cool. Anything else? Anybody else?
Thank you guys for having us, though, for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Crew, for sure.
Thank you for taking time this weekend to go out. I know we said it a lot, but we really appreciate y'all.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the rental car was bad.
Yeah, no, we decided to come back because it actually blew a transmission. So we were like, we're not gonna wait a week for that to get fixed. So, but we thank you so much for you guys allowing us to broadcast your games. I know I texted Coach Kevin and I texted Fully Loaded as well. Hey, we're going out there, and he was like, oh, that's awesome. It means a lot. So we thank you as well for liking everything, being cool with us there. So thank you guys for setting this up short notice. So thank you guys again. That's going to wrap up our show today, guys, with the RGV Heat with Kayla Rogers, Chelsea Salinas, Kristee Salas, and Audrey Escamilla. They'll be wrapping up their softball season this summer, and hopefully they get to go to Plano for nationals. And actually, are you guys in that South Texas Kingsville showcase as well? There's one in Corpus. I'm not sure if you guys.
Portland? Isn't it?
Yes.
If it happens, we're more than likely going to go.
Okay. So 2 potential ones. So it's still up in the air and it's still good things to happen. So we'll see, and hopefully we'll get to go see you guys once again. But that's going to wrap up our show, guys. Again, that's Audrey, Chelsea, Kristee, and Kayla. Thank you for joining us today, guys, and we really appreciate what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you
a
for
good one
having
and be
us.
safe.